Hi there, I'm Kelly Southam. I'm currently living in Essex and I am here as a RVS Steward Volunteer. Um, Before COVID, I was working in corporate events and managing mass crowds through exhibition centres and stewarding people to the right place for their conferences and exhibitions. And then during the pandemic from March 2020 onwards, my work has been pretty much virtual, which means also mostly from home. So I'm actually dialing in from my home office as we speak. Lots of my family and friends work for the NHS in various different roles, most of them on the front line. And in our Zoom calls and our various catch-ups, I could see what the pandemic was doing to them, how exhausted they were, how emotionally draining it was. And seeing that just made me think, I wonder if there's anything I can do to help. I wasn't sure that there would be anything, but, I had to look into it. I was also really keen to get out of the house. I think particularly in January, it's quite a grey, miserable month for many. So I was feeling a bit fed up. So I decided to have a look and see if there was anything I could do in my local community to help out. And to add to that, my employer announced that they would be happy to offer people like paid volunteering days if we were to be helping with the COVID efforts. That twinned with seeing a notice from the Royal Voluntary Service, particularly for Steward Volunteers, meant that I signed up to the NHS Volunteer Responder Programme for the vaccination sites and helping out there. And I've been doing that ever since January. I think Steward Volunteers have a really important part to play in supporting those vaccination sites. It means that the tasks that we take up enables the medically trained staff and the clinical staff to focus on really what they do best and what they've had the training for. So we do a lot of different things. We check people into the car park when they first arrive. We manage the queues. We make sure that people are socially distanced. We make sure that people are wearing their masks. So we do our best to try and keep those vaccination sites safe during the pandemic. But I think more than that, we chat to people. There's a really high percentage of people that, particularly when coming for their vaccinations, have, various different phobias. They're a bit uneasy, a bit anxious. And I think just seeing a friendly face, chatting to them, putting their mind at ease is just such a really important role. And for me personally, it meant that I got to get out of the house and talk to some absolutely wonderful people as well. I think the best thing about the role and many of the volunteer responder program roles actually is that you don't need to be qualified. There's no specific qualifications that you need. You can come from any walk of life, any background, any age, any eye color, whatever it might be. I think really you just need to be reliable, approachable, friendly, and if you care and take really good value away from helping people, then I think it's a great thing to do. I personally have got so much out of it. It's been so rewarding. And the variety of the role, the atmosphere, everybody's so friendly when you get there on site. All of the site managers and the nurses are really just so grateful to have us there helping. And I think, like I said, the patients find it so, they put them at ease just having a friendly face there when they arrive. I think it's definitely helped me be more patient. I think our lives before COVID were extremely busy. Everybody rushing around all the time. We're always in a hurry. And actually, it makes you just stop and pause and really evaluate the important things in life. Value friends, value family members, other people, your neighbours, people within your community. I think the overall thing that I noticed more than anything was most people are genuinely really, really lovely, caring people. A lot of them would come with family members, and there's a lot of love and compassion out there, and it's easy to forget that. And I think being at the sites and seeing people come through, it's been fantastic. I think that it's done me the world of good mentally, actually. I think, like I mentioned in January, I was a bit fed up really, and feeling that I wasn't doing the job that I was doing before, and working from home, not seeing colleagues, not being able to see friends and family. And I think having a purpose, having a reason to get up in the morning and go to the vaccine site, and then being there and seeing the impact that you're having on other people and chatting, hearing people's stories, you come away just feeling like you've done a tiny little bit to help, but an important bit to help all the same. You know, you could hear some people's wonderful stories. It's probably one of the most worthwhile things I've done in a long time. And a little cherry on the cake was that I got invited to number 10 and got to meet the Prime Minister as part of the Thank You Day celebrations on the 4th of July. So again, to have that level of recognition is truly, truly wonderful. I believe there's now going to be a short video playing about the NHS volunteer responders.
I signed up to be a Steward Volunteer because I wanted to be a part of this amazing vaccination programme that we're rolling out, and I wanted to focus on what I can do rather than what I can't do in this lockdown and get out of the house. There's several of us and we all have different roles and we can swap. At the moment I'm meeting and greeting people as they come into the Grafton Centre. I'm checking what time their appointment is and I'm checking that they're okay, reassuring them about the process that they're going to go through today.
So the volunteers have been absolutely fantastic. They're integral to our day. Without them we wouldn't be able to function. They're asking all the COVID questions to make sure that everybody is COVID safe before entering our site, and then guiding them through the process of their vaccination.
Just seeing how happy people are when they come out after having a vaccine, that's just going to help them be able to see their friends and family and get back into normal life again and start to do things, and that we as a community can start to live a more normal life. It's just been great.
I retired in the early part of 2020. Had a lot of spare time on my hands. The rest of my family all work. Of course, I'm sat at home a lot of the time on my own. So that was also a prompt, if you like, to volunteer. You meet a lot of like-minded people from many different walks of life who are all here working towards a common aim, very similar to my career within the military. It is fun, gets you out and about. It keeps your mind working. Seeing the smiles on people's faces, it just gives you that warm feeling that you've done something today that has been worthwhile.
The volunteers on site are an integral part of the team. They're often the first person that the member of the public will see. They're the people that sort of guide them sort of around the site, often the people that are remembered by members of the public. And so, yeah, a really important sort of part of the team and sort of helping us run the service as effectively as we can.
The general public have been so thankful. And the colleagues here, who are also volunteers, they're very friendly, there's always a warm welcome, and you just feel that you're doing a bit of good.
My name is Quincy, and I'm a pharmacist, and I'm the vaccination manager in Orchard 2000 Pharmacy, which is one of the many smaller sites all across the east of England that is pushing to get everyone vaccinated in this community. Right from the first day, we've been using volunteers. Because of that, we've been doing up to about 600 patients in a day with just 2 vaccinators, because the flow is fantastic with the volunteers helping people to come in, one-way system, and then to go out, and then get into the car park and then go. Anyone that is anxious about anything, they speak to them, go to the manager. So the system has been perfect with their help. We couldn't have done the vaccination in this site and other site without them. It would have been impossible.
Hello again. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I would like to just offer any opportunities for anybody to ask any questions now. I've seen there's some comments from Sue, so thank you, Sue. I get a lot of value out of it, so it's not a difficult task for me, but thank you anyway. And I think Victoria has asked a question, which is, what is a standout moment from my volunteering journey? There's a lot. There's a lot of them. Generally, like I've said before, you just meet some wonderful people. But there was one gentleman in particular. He came with his daughter, and it was the first time he'd been out of the house for over a year, because just before COVID hit, he was actually in hospital, sadly. So he was an elderly gentleman, and he'd come in his Sunday best. So he had his waistcoat and his full suit on. And it was the first time he'd really seen his daughter and been out of the house. So we had a good old chat, and he was so happy and grateful to be at the vaccination site. Just, he saw it as the beginning of the end, to be able to give him his freedom back. But he said that his daughter had told him that because it was his first day out, she would treat him so he could do anything he wanted to do. And he said what he really wanted to do was get some fish and chips from the proper old school fish and chip shop. So that's where she was taking him after his vaccine. He was being rewarded with his fish and chips. So I very much hope that he enjoyed them and had a lovely afternoon after coming to see us. We've had another question come in which says, what surprised you the most when volunteering? So again, a really good question. I think when I first went, I was very nervous about what to expect. I was expecting that some people, it might be more difficult than it was, actually. I think it surprised me at quite how easy I found it. And I don't, it's been an absolute dream. And yes, there's been the odd patient here or there because of nerves or because of their circumstances that have been slightly challenging, but 9 times out of 10, I'd say 99% of the time, you're just talking to wonderful people in your community and hearing their stories. And so I think from that perspective, it surprised me at quite how easy it became my new normal, and how easy it became part of my life, and just generally how much I actually looked forward to setting my alarm and getting up and going to one of the mass sites. I'm not sure if there's any other questions coming through. I think one of the things I will say is that if anybody is considering joining up to become an RHS volunteer, then it's not just the stewarding roles at the vaccine sites. There's plenty of different roles that you can do within your community. So you can be one of the volunteer responders, which means that you can help people, take prescriptions, help, some of your neighbours get their prescriptions if they're struggling to get to the supermarkets, or not even just elderly people, but if anybody is in isolation, or just for whatever reason needs that bit of support, even if they just want to speak to somebody on the phone and have a chat because they might be feeling a bit lonely. There's plenty of roles that are available to support. There's some more questions that have come in about who can volunteer. Literally anybody. So I mentioned before, you don't need any qualifications at all. So as long as you're reliable, I think that would be the one key thing. It's not the sort of place where you can let people down. So as long as you're reliable, and as long as you're friendly, caring, and just invested in wanting to help people, then you can absolutely become a volunteer. Like I said, anybody can do it, any age, any background. And I think for me, I started doing 3 shifts a week, so 3 4-hour shifts. So I was doing 12 hours a week, and I was doing regular shifts every week. And I think as my work has started to change and started to get a bit busier, I've now slightly changed my shift pattern. But it's really flexible in terms of when you're on duty or off duty, what shifts you do, how much time you commit. You can work it around your own schedule. And if you're one of the responders in the community, you can put yourself on and off duty when it really suits you. So, like I said, if you've got any, if you're thinking about doing it, then I would definitely consider that you have a look at some of the videos that have been on the Facebook group, and that you just go to the voluntary service website and just have a look a bit more into it. I think there will be a role there that's suitable for you. I'm hoping that I've answered those questions so far. I think unless there's any more, I'll give just one more. Yeah, so Luke said thank you. Thanks, Luke, for your question. So I think I've come to the end of my time now. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for putting in your questions. It's been great to be here and just talk to you all about being a steward volunteer. And trying to encourage any of you, if you are considering it, then just definitely get involved. It's been the best thing I've done throughout the whole COVID pandemic, for sure. It's really easy to apply as well. yeah, I think I'm just reading. So it says here that if you are interested in becoming a steward volunteer or NHS responder, then the website that they've given is nhsvolunteerresponders.org.uk. So there's a very specific website that's been set up for you to go on and just find out about all the different roles and how to apply. So I'll just read that again. So it's nhsvolunteerresponders.org.uk, or you can call 0808 196 3646. Yeah, please come back on the Facebook group and let me know how it goes if you do sign up. We've got a nice community going there. So hopefully I'll be seeing some of you there soon. Thank you very much for listening.